The world is virtually everything we know, the biggest thing that is familiar to us, and yet it is a place full of mystery and unexplored corners to be discovered. On this iceberg you will find many interesting places, creepy stuff, and who knows, maybe you live close enough to these places to find more information about them. Welcome to the creepy and bizarre locations on Google Maps Iceberg.
Say my name, Eisenberg. You're goddamn right.
Eniwetok Atoll. A beautiful atoll located in the Pacific Ocean, 1,000 kilometers from the Marshall Islands, that wouldn't be different from other places in the area if it weren't for a dome covering a crater left by a nuclear test, performed by the US in late 1952 that vaporized an islet called Eluglab. Here's the footage of what happened that very day. SS Jasim. The SS Jasim was a Bolivian cargo ferry that ran aground and sunk on the Wingate Reef off the coast of Sudan in 2003. We can see it from past pictures from Google Maps, but for some reason the area where the ship lies is no longer visible. In fact, very close to the shipwreck there's another one we'll talk about next. Something interesting about this case is that there's not a lot of media coverage, and even a Wikipedia page about this event is scheduled for deletion due to the lack of reliable sources. Hashima Island. What you're seeing right now is a devastated city 19 kilometers from Nagasaki. It used to have a population of 5,000 inhabitants, but on April 20, 1974, the island was cleared of people. You can see how nature has taken over buildings, and even though it looks as if a war had been fought on this island, the reality is that the lack of people and maintenance of the facility, as well as the harsh weather conditions, have led to the decay of this place. Boat on North Sentinel Island. Seeing a boat on an island might not be interesting if it weren't for the story behind it, and also the place that we're talking about. North Sentinel Island has become more known around the world for being home to the Sentinelese, who are a group of indigenous people voluntarily isolated from the rest of the world, and any attempts to contact them result in hostile encounters. This was exemplified when the Primrose ran aground on coastal reefs and then grounded on the North Sentinel Island Reef in August 1981. The captain of Primrose radioed for an urgent drop of firearms, so his crew could defend themselves from the hostile people of the island. They didn't receive any because a large storm stopped other ships from reaching them, but the heavy seas also prevented the islanders from approaching the ship. A week later, the crewmen were rescued by a helicopter, and what you can see for yourself on Google Maps is that very ship that would be scavenged by the islanders. Doll Town. The city of Nagoro is a lonely place according to Tsukimi Ayano. In order to fill the void left by the people who moved or died, she has populated the place with dolls representing people who once were part of the community. You can even see classrooms with these dolls representing teachers and children who attended class. Imagine for a moment if, at some point, everyone left the place and the only inhabitants remaining were the dolls of people who once populated the city. Seattle Center Spiders. If spiders like this existed, we would be extinct. As creepy as it looks, it's actually a 3D painting that creates the illusion of giant spiders taking over the building. Face Under Bridge. Under a bridge of Ithaca in New York, lying in a dark corner, there is what appears to be a mask or a face of some creature. If you go now to Google Maps, the very area where you could find that is blurred out. Door to Hell. If you search Door to Hell on Google Maps, you may think you'll end up at some bar in the US, but instead you will find this. Nothing else on the planet deserves the title of the door to hell more than this place located in Turkmenistan. Nobody really knows how long this collapsed natural gas field has been burning or when the fire will be extinguished, but it's one of the most unique locations in the world. Giant Hand. If you go to the southwest of Mongolia, you will find this. More precisely in a city called Erenhot. I couldn't find much information about this hand, other than the area is popular for its discovery of dinosaurs underground. Starbuck Island. Another island in the Pacific Ocean, Starbuck Island shows up on this iceberg because of a strange object we can see right now. It looks like it had been dragged, as lines on the sand suggest that. In my opinion, I think that the object in question happens to be a ship bow. I read on Wikipedia about the place, and it says that due to its low profile and dangers surrounding reefs, a number of ships were wrecked at Starbuck Island in the late 19th century. It is possible that indeed what we are seeing is the front part of an old ship, but who or what dragged it there we might never know, especially knowing that the place is actually uninhabited. Silent people. Imagine being silently stared at by more than 1,000 humanoid shapes at night. Well, this would happen if you were in Hiljainen, Kansa, Finland. This picture of silhouettes looking in the same direction belongs to the silent people. The artist behind this, Reijo Kela, refuses to give any sort of explanation for the figures, which gives it an even more creepy aura as to what exactly they represent. Many find the scarecrows sad or disturbing, evoking a forgotten people, and a popular theory is that they represent those lost during a brutal battle that took place nearby during the Winter War of 1939 to 1940 between the Finns and Soviet Russia. Avenida Iztacalco 9. Somewhere in Mexico City, you can find a blurred image of this place on Google Streets. The reason why this place is blurred out is clear if you Google this address. Hundreds of dolls decorate the walls. Why would a house be decorated in such a way is a mystery to many, but the reality is that it's an esoteric shop, and the creepy dolls are nothing but an ingenious advertisement for those interested in the occult. Barhut Pit. This place refers to a sinkhole located in Yemen, also known as the Well of Hell, and it does look like that from an aerial view. Local folklore says that the cave was created as a prison for demonic creatures, and superstition has it that objects near the hole can be sucked towards it. Some nearby residents think that it's bad luck to even talk about it. In spite of this, the sinkhole is actually a beautiful place, and even waterfalls have been reported to be present inside. SS Umbria. Although it's not visible on Google Maps, you can go to Bing Maps and discern a sunken ship off the coast of Port Sudan in Africa, very close to the SS Jassim. The SS Umbria was an Italian ship carrying war supplies that was deliberately sunken by his captain in order to hide the fact that they were carrying weapons to fight in the Second World War. The ship is now a garden of marine diversity and visited by scuba divers around the world. Hill of Crosses. If we go to Lithuania, 12 kilometers away from the city of Šiauliai, we will find a place with crosses that at some point represented the people that rebelled against Russian authorities and whose bodies couldn't be found. An estimated 9,000 crosses were placed in the 1800s when these deaths occurred. In 2006, the amount of crosses was estimated around 100,000. Escobar's Plane. If you go to the south of Norman's Cay in the Bahamas, you will notice an airplane lying underwater. This airplane belonged to Pablo Escobar, who used this island as a refueling place to transport his product from Colombia to the US. People were afraid to approach the plane, to the point that it remains there to this day. Pac-Man. Somewhere in the deserts of Mauritania lie a couple of shapes that look like Pac-Man. I really don't have an explanation for this one, but this is not the weirdest part. Something really strange happens if you go to Bing Maps. I'm sure the Pac-Man shapes have a common explanation, but this ring really stands out. Boat in the middle of the desert. There are two strange elements in this location. The first one is the presence of a boat in the middle of the Californian desert. The second one, the enormous shape next to the boat, which from afar, it looks like something that came out from a science fiction movie. However, on closer inspection, we can see that most probably it's a body of water. The particular shape of it indicates that it must have been made artificially. The bizarre shape of it makes us wonder what the purpose of this place is. A few meters to the south, we can see what looks like an excavator preparing the terrain in a similar shape to the body of water. Some people say that this place is part of a large military base where naval weapons are tested, giving a purpose to the presence of bodies of water in the middle of the desert. Jigsaw. Some time ago, you could search for these coordinates and have a view of one of the streets of St. Petersburg at night. However, the creepy part is that a bunch of Billy puppets from the Jigsaw franchise could be seen surrounding the camera. Mothman. There's a picture of somebody wearing a costume of Mothman at the McClintic Wildlife Management area. The picture probably no longer exists on Google Streets, but I tried to take a look at the place by myself and I found this. There's even mention of Mothman, so if somebody knows anything, please leave it in the comments. Strange people in Russia. I couldn't find any context on this one, but if you go to this location on Google Streets, you'll be able to see people wearing single-colored uniforms. Oddly enough, these people are wearing the colors of the Google logo and can be seen walking along the camera. Sunken Jeep. This was reported by the Reddit user Kevin by mail. Looking on Google Maps, he found a pond near Key West, Florida, where a sunken Jeep can be seen. People have gone to that location to see the Jeep, but I couldn't find any information about the reason for it being abandoned there. Some people think it might be linked to a crime. Deep Forest Hole. Somewhere in the east part of Russia, a Reddit user shared this location in which we can see a dense forest, and in the middle, a big hole with a body of water in the center. I'm sure there's a geological explanation for this, but the fact that there's nothing like it in the surrounding area makes it a mysterious place. Inaccessible Islands Hut. One of the most remote islands in the world, Inaccessible Island is a volcanic island located in the South Atlantic Ocean. Mostly desolate and inhospitable, the island has few small rocky beaches. Generations of sailors were wary of the difficult landing and inhospitable terrain. Inaccessible Island has been without permanent inhabitant since 1873. If we zoom in on the northwest part of the island, we'll be able to see a house or hut, probably used by explorers or researchers to study its wildlife in the past. King George Island Caves. Located south of Argentina in Antarctica lies King George Island. If we look at the southwest section of the island and zoom in, we can see what appears to be an entrance to a cave. If we go west, not too far from this place, there's another location with what appears to be another cave. I'm not quite sure if these places are caves or if the way the pictures were taken creates that illusion, but it's an interesting sight nonetheless. Antarctic Entrance. Yet another mysterious location in Antarctica and almost 4,000 kilometers south of Australia. There's not much to say about this one other than it's one of the farthest places on Earth and probably still unexplored. Underwater people. If we go to Isla Mujeres, Mexico, we will find a place underwater where a bunch of statues of people lie. This creepy place happens to be an underwater museum with 470 real-size statues. Scott's Hut. Enter at your own risk. For your own safety, read and obey the code of conduct. Do not touch artifacts. Among other recommendations is what a sign reads at the entrance of this place, located on Ross Island in Antarctica, erected in 1911 by an explorer named Robert Scott. A mirror stained with a red substance and several instruments whose purpose are unknown can be found in this remote place, but what's more eerie is that if we look to the left, we can see the body of a dead penguin that has been there for more than 100 years and well preserved due to the low temperatures of the place. After 1917, the hut remained untouched until 1956, when US expeditioners dug it out of the snow and ice. It was found to be in a remarkable state of preservation, as seen in these images. Satan's face. It's no longer visible, but some years ago, an internet user found this by chance. It resembles a humanoid face that, due to the nature of its appearance, it was named Satan's face. If you check Google Maps nowadays, it's no longer there, but it said that once discovered, the terrain was intentionally modified by religious people to erase this face. Bouvet Island. Bouvet Island is a subantarctic volcanic island situated in the South Atlantic Ocean at the southern end of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. This could be any island if it weren't for the fact that due to its location, it's the world's most remote island. Due to its harsh conditions, only non-animal life like fungi and non-vascular plants can live there. Please let me know in the comments what iceberg you would like me to cover. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one.